In a world perpetually saturated with information, where the self is meticulously curated for public consumption and every moment a potential broadcast, we find ourselves at a precipice. The digital age promised boundless connection, a global village without borders. Yet, beneath the veneer of constant communication, a profound disquiet often stirs. We are more connected than ever, yet perhaps more isolated, more anxious, more adrift in a sea of fleeting comparisons. What counsel, then, would an ancient mind, one accustomed to the grandeur and squalor of imperial Rome, offer to our hyper-connected present? What would Seneca, the philosopher of self-mastery and inner tranquility, tell us about the relentless hum of social media? Seneca, in his Letters from a Stoic, often warned against the dangers of the crowd, of allowing one's peace of mind to be dictated by external opinion. He saw in the clamor of the forum, in the spectacles of the arena, a fundamental erosion of the self. Today, the forum has expanded into an infinite digital amphitheater. Every scroll, every post, every like or dislike becomes a subtle, pervasive pressure. We are perpetually on show, our thoughts and feelings filtered through the perceived judgments of countless unseen eyes. This incessant external validation, this constant gauging of one's worth against an arbitrary digital metric, is precisely the kind of servitude Seneca vehemently argued against. To live for the applause of others, whether in ancient Rome or the modern digital sphere, is to surrender one's most precious possession, inner freedom. Social media thrives on the projection of an idealized self, a carefully constructed facade of success, happiness and material abundance. Seneca, however, deeply understood the illusory nature of external wealth and status. He observed that true riches reside not in what one possesses, but in the contentment one feels with what is sufficient. It is not the man who has too little, he wrote, but the man who craves more, that is poor. On platforms awash with curated perfection, exotic vacations, opulent possessions, flawless appearances, we are constantly presented with a manufactured standard of the good life. This fosters a corrosive envy, a ceaseless striving for something always just beyond reach. Seneca would argue that this digital theater of aspiration traps us in a perpetual state of dissatisfaction, blinding us to the true wealth of our own internal fortitude and existing circumstances. Few things stirred Seneca's philosophical fervor as much as the precious, finite nature of time. He admonished his friend Lucilius again and again to reclaim your time, to live deliberately, for life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it is all invested well. Social media, with its infinite scroll and constant notifications, has become a masterful thief of this irreplaceable commodity. Hours dissolve into minutes, consumed by trivialities, by the lives of strangers, by fleeting trends. This isn't just wasted time, it's a profound squandering of the very substance of life itself. Seneca would see this digital procrastination not as a harmless diversion, but as a tragic neglect of self, a deliberate avoidance of the deeper work of living, of building character, of cultivating wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, reflecting on the human tendency to be engrossed in external affairs, urged us to look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig. Seneca, too, consistently directed our gaze inward. Yet social media, by its very design, compels us to look outward, to obsessively monitor the lives of others. We become voyeurs, constantly comparing our messy, unfiltered reality against the polished highlight reels of our peers. This relentless external focus erodes self-acceptance, breeding discontent and a sense of inadequacy. Seneca would identify this as a profound distraction from the only true arena of battle, the mind itself. How can one achieve inner peace, he would ask, when one's mental landscape is perpetually cluttered with the curated spectacles of others? For Seneca, the concept of otium, leisure dedicated to contemplation, study, and self-improvement, was paramount. It was a sanctuary from the relentless negotium of public life, a space where the soul could flourish. Social media obliterates the boundaries between these realms. Our otium is infiltrated by notifications, our quiet moments interrupted by the demands of the digital collective. There is no true off switch, no genuine escape. To Seneca, this constant influx would be anathema to the cultivation of inner tranquility. How can we hear the whispers of reason? How can we truly know ourselves when our minds are always attuned to the chaotic symphony of the internet? He would challenge us to fiercely guard our mental space, to create true periods of otium, untainted by the digital storm. To Seneca, solitude was not merely the absence of others, but a vital condition for self-reflection and philosophical growth. He sought out quiet retreats, away from the clamor of Rome, to commune with his own thoughts and with the wisdom of the ancients. In our digital age, true solitude becomes an increasingly rare commodity. Even when alone, our minds remain tethered to the network, our presence fragmented across multiple virtual spaces. Seneca would urge us to rediscover the profound power of disconnecting, of embracing moments of unmediated silence. It is in this stillness, he would contend, that we find clarity, that we confront our authentic selves, and that we cultivate the resilience necessary to navigate life's inevitable challenges. Disconnecting is not merely abstaining, it is an active practice of self-preservation. Seneca held friendship in the highest regard, viewing it as one of life's greatest blessings. Yet his conception of friendship was profound and demanding, a bond built on trust, mutual improvement, shared virtue, and honest counsel. Such a connection, he believed, nourishes the soul. Social media, however, often offers a superficial mimicry of connection. We amass friends or followers, a vast, shallow ocean of acquaintances, without the depth or intimacy Seneca deemed essential. These digital ties often lack the courage of true friendship, the willingness to challenge, to support genuinely, to share vulnerability without calculation. Seneca would remind us that a single true friend is worth more than 1,000 digital admirers, and that the pursuit of genuine human connection requires presence, effort, and an intentional investment of self that cannot be replicated by algorithms. Stoicism, at its core, is a philosophy of resilience in the face of suffering and misfortune. Seneca, having endured exile, loss, and the caprices of imperial power, advocated for a stark, courageous acceptance of reality, not its denial or embellishment. Social media, however, often sanitizes suffering, presenting a distorted view where adversity is either romanticized for engagement or entirely absent. It fosters an unrealistic expectation of constant happiness, making individual setbacks feel uniquely devastating. Seneca would call us to confront our misfortunes directly, to understand their nature, and to strengthen our inner citadel against them, rather than seeking fleeting digital empathy or escaping into curated joy. The true test of character, he would argue, lies not in the projection of an unblemished life, but in the steadfastness with which one endures life's inevitable hardships. For Seneca, the good life, eudaimonia, was an inner state of virtue, tranquility, and wisdom, attained through reason and self-mastery. It was a life lived in accordance with nature, free from the tyranny of desires and external opinion. Could social media, then, be a tool for this good life? Perhaps, if wielded with extreme caution and intentionality. If used to disseminate wisdom, to foster genuine connection, to inspire noble action, but far more often it serves as a formidable impediment. It lures us into comparison, distracts us from self-reflection, and amplifies the very external pressures Seneca urged us to resist. The path to the good life, he would insist, is an inward journey, a quiet cultivation of character, not a performance for the digital masses. Our screens, more often than not, offer a labyrinth, not a highway to true contentment. Seneca, through his enduring letters, offers us not a condemnation of technology, but a timeless critique of human nature's susceptibility to distraction, external validation, and the illusion of fleeting pleasures. His words resonate with a chilling clarity in our digital age, urging us to reclaim our time, guard our minds, and cultivate genuine connection. The challenge, then, is not merely to unplug, but to cultivate a deliberate philosophy of engagement, to approach social media, and indeed all external influences, with a Stoic discernment, to recognize what is within our control, our attention, our reactions, our values, and what is not, to choose reflection over reaction, substance over superficiality, and inner tranquility over the clamor of the digital crowd. Only by doing so can we hope to navigate this complex landscape, not as passive consumers of endless feeds, but as active architects of our own inner peace, crafting a life of meaning amidst the noise. What Seneca would ask of us is not to escape the world, but to master ourselves within it.